It all began as an ordinary day in Emmerdale, the kind where nothing out of the ordinary ever seems to happen. Parents rushed their kids to school, neighbors greeted each other with polite smiles, and the calm of the village gave no hint of the storm that was about to break. But beneath that quiet surface, a secret was growing, one that would soon tear families apart, destroy friendships, and leave the entire village in shock. It started with something small, a fight at school. When Nicola King and Dawn Fletcher got the call from the head teacher, both women thought it was just one of those silly playground scuffles kids get into. Nothing major, nothing unusual. But when they arrived, everything felt different. The teachers looked tense, the air felt heavy, and their sons, Carl and Lucas, sat apart, both silent and angry. Dawn tried to get to the bottom of it, asking Lucas what had happened. But the moment she suggested he apologize to Carl, her son flat out refused. His tone was defiant, his eyes filled with a strange mix of anger and hurt. Nicola, confused and defensive, tried to calm things down, but Lucas wouldn't back down. Something had clearly happened, something serious enough to make him lose control. And when the truth came out, it wasn't just shocking, it was horrifying. Later that day, the village grew restless. Police cars quietly pulled into the area, officers stepping out with that serious, deliberate calm that only comes when something truly serious is going on. They weren't here for a routine visit, they were here for Clemmie Reed and Carl Holliday. Nicola's heart dropped when she saw the officers approaching. What could her son possibly have done? When the officers began to speak, the words hit like a thunderbolt. They told Nicola, "We have information that Carl Holliday has possessed and distributed an indecent image of a child." The color drained from her face. She couldn't even process what she was hearing. Carl, her sweet, funny boy? How could that possibly be true? Over at home farm, Dawn was dealing with the same nightmare. The police explained the situation in detail, that Clemmie, her young daughter, had taken an indecent photo of herself and sent it to Carl. What made it worse was that Carl didn't just keep it, he shared it in a group chat. And because Clemmie is underage, it was a criminal offense. The police officer's words were clear and cold. Because Clemmie is under the age of consent, it's an offense to take or distribute. For Dawn, it was like the ground fell out from beneath her. She couldn't breathe. Clemmie was just a child, her child, and now she was at the center of something far bigger than she could understand. Nicola and Jimmy, meanwhile, refused to believe what they were hearing. They told themselves there had to be a mistake, that Carl would never do something like that. But when they confronted him, their world shattered. Carl looked down, guilt written all over his face. He didn't try to deny it. "I did it," he said softly. "I sent the picture of Clemmie." His voice cracked as he added, "But I didn't ask her to take it." It was the kind of confession no parent ever wants to hear, one that instantly changed everything they thought they knew about their child. Nicola's instinct was to protect him. She begged Dawn not to take things further, saying it would ruin both families, that maybe it could be handled quietly. But Dawn wasn't having it. Her voice shook with anger and heartbreak as she replied, "I just want to go through the proper channels, okay? Carl needs to face the consequences of his actions." For her, this wasn't about revenge, it was about doing the right thing, no matter how painful it was. The tension between the families grew thicker by the hour. The once friendly neighbors were now on opposite sides of a heartbreaking situation that neither could control. Nicola, desperate to shield her son from the worst, pleaded with the police not to take things further, saying, "Please don't ruin his life before it started." But the officers had no choice, the law was the law. They told her the investigation would continue and that Carl would be formally interviewed under caution the following day. As word spread around the village, whispers began to fill the air. People couldn't believe it. Carl Holliday, barely more than a child himself, now at the center of an investigation that could change his life forever. Some felt sympathy, others judgment, but everyone agreed on one thing: nothing in Emmerdale would ever be the same again. The following week promises even more turmoil. Carl is taken into police custody, leaving Nicola and Jimmy devastated, torn between love for their son and horror at what he's done. Meanwhile, Dawn's family struggles to cope with the emotional fallout. Clemmie, confused and ashamed, can barely look anyone in the eye. Lucas, the one who tried to stand up for his sister, is angry at everyone, angry at Carl, angry at the adults, and angry at a world that suddenly feels unfair and cruel. The feud between the Kings and the Fletchers only gets worse. Heated arguments turn personal, and years of friendship crumble under the weight of betrayal, pain, and guilt. Every glance, every word, every moment between them feels like a battle. And as the days go on, the question everyone keeps asking is the same: who really deserves the blame? Was Carl just a foolish boy who made a mistake without realizing the consequences? Or was this something darker, something that shows how fragile innocence has become in the digital age? And what about Clemmie, a young girl caught in a situation she never fully understood, now facing the weight of something she shouldn't have to carry? In a village built on secrets, rumors, and heartbreak, this story has cut deeper than most. It's a painful reminder that sometimes the people we think we know best can make the biggest mistakes. And as this devastating devastating situation unfolds, one thing's for sure: Emmerdale won't recover from this scandal anytime soon. Because this isn't just a story about a fight at school, it's a story about trust, choices, and the dark consequences of a single moment that changed everything.